All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really fascinating, those invisible connections between our culture, the spaces we actually build, and, our own well-being.
So let me just ask you something. Have you ever really wondered why a walk in the woods just feels so good? You know that feeling, right? That sense of calm you get from hearing waves crash or smelling the rain in a forest. It's something we all get, isn't it? Well, it turns out this isn't just some casual preference. Nope, it's a universal human instinct. It's this deep, innate pull we have towards the natural world, and it's literally coded into our DNA. Okay, so let's get into it. There's actually a name for this deep connection we all seem to have. It's a scientific idea that's pretty much the foundation for everything we're going to talk about today. It's called the biophilia hypothesis. This was made famous by the incredible biologist Edward O. Wilson, and the theory is actually pretty straightforward. He argued that humans have this built-in, innate tendency to connect with nature. I mean, think about it. For most of our history, our survival literally depended on it, right? We had to understand nature to find food, water, and, avoid becoming somebody else's lunch. So when we're disconnected from all that, it doesn't just feel a little off. It can cause real stress. And that's really the heart of it. This connection we have to nature isn't just some nice-to-have preference. It is coded right into our very being. It's not a hobby. It's not a choice. It's essential. Okay, so that raises a huge question, doesn't it? If we have this deep biological need for nature, how on earth do we satisfy it when so many of us live in cities surrounded by concrete? Well, that's exactly where biophilic design comes into play. So how do we actually do it? Well, pioneers in this field, like the folks at Terrapin Bright Green, have kind of broken it down into three main pillars. The first one is super simple: nature in the space. This is the direct stuff, literally putting plants in a room, maybe a small fountain. The second is natural analogs. Think of this as an indirect representation, like using wood grain textures or patterns that look like leaves or even stone countertops. And the third one, nature of the space, is a bit more abstract. It's about how the space itself is designed. Things like having a great view out a window or creating a cozy, protected spot that makes you feel safe. But, and this is where it gets really fascinating, that instinct for nature, it's universal for sure, but the way we express it, oh, that is totally different depending on where you are in the world. It's all seen through a local cultural lens. Yeah, this is the main takeaway right here. A universal principle is always filtered through culture. The need is the same for everyone, but what one person considers a beautiful, natural space is completely shaped by their history, their environment, and even their beliefs. And here's a perfect example of that. You've got this contrast between nature as a resource and nature as a relation. In a lot of Western thought, nature is seen as this separate thing, right? It's a resource to be managed or place you go visit for the weekend. But in many indigenous worldviews, that separation just doesn't exist. Humans aren't above nature. They're an inescapable part of a living, breathing world. And believe me, that one shift in perspective changes absolutely everything about how you design a space. So, you ready? Let's go on a little global design tour and see this stuff in action. We're going to check out how all these different cultures bring biophilia to life. Our first stop is East Asia. We're going to look at how concepts of harmony and impermanence, especially in places like Japan, create a really unique relationship with nature in design. So you have these amazing ideas like wabi-sabi, which is all about finding beauty in things that are imperfect or have aged. And then there's shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, which is literally about the therapeutic benefit of just being in the woods. This all comes from traditions like Zen Buddhism and Shintoism that see nature as sacred. So the design that comes out of this is, well, it's very subtle. It's about creating tranquility, like those incredible Zen gardens, which are basically nature distilled down to its absolute essence. Okay, now let's jump way up north to Scandinavia. Here, the driving force behind design is something totally different: long, dark winters. It's all about coziness and light here. You've probably heard of Hygge, that incredible feeling of deep comfort and well-being. That's a direct response to a climate that can be pretty tough. So what do? They design to maximize every little bit of natural light with huge windows. They use light-colored woods to make everything feel brighter, and they're obsessed with friluftsliv, or open-air living. So their spaces often have this amazing flow between the indoors and outdoors to make the most of every sunny day. Okay, from the cold north, let's head down to the sunny Mediterranean. This is where you see design that's all about community and dealing with a hot, sunny climate. I mean, the classic Mediterranean courtyard is just genius. It's biophilic design at its best. It creates its own little cool microclimate, it becomes the heart of social life, and it usually has a fountain. The design uses local materials like stone and terracotta to keep the inside nice and cool. And the plants? They're not just for looks, they're functional. Grapevines provide shade, and herbs are right there for cooking and for their amazing scent. And now for our last stop, and honestly, maybe the most important one, we're going to talk about place-based knowledge in indigenous design. These are the original biophilic designers. Seriously, long before anyone coined the term, indigenous architecture was the ultimate expression of this whole idea. It's all about a deep, profound connection to what's called the spirit of place, or genius loci. This goes way beyond just using local materials like adobe. It's about creating buildings that are in a genuine relationship with the land. Remember that nature as relation concept we talked about? This is it, in practice. These structures are truly sustainable because they're perfectly in sync with the local climate, the ecology, and even the spiritual beliefs of the community. So, what's the big takeaway from our little world tour? It's that we have to start designing with a deeper meaning. We've got to move beyond the easy, superficial stuff. Because there's a huge risk here, right? The risk of greenwashing. Just sticking a few potted plants in a corporate lobby and calling it biophilic? That's not it. Authentic integration is so much more. It's about design that truly reflects the local culture, the local ecosystem, and the unique story of that specific place. So this is really a call to action for designers. It's not enough to just know the principles. You have to engage with the local community. You've got to study the history and the traditional ways of building there. You have to understand how people in that place perceive nature before you even start designing. The goal is to create real place-based relationships. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to bring nature indoors. It's much bigger than that. It's about connecting with our deepest cultural memories of what it feels like to truly belong to a place. So, I'll leave you with a question to think about. How does your space connect to nature and culture? Look around your home, your office, your neighborhood. How does it connect not just to nature in general, but to the specific culture and story of the place where you live? Really think about it. The answer might just surprise you.